Now I request Baba Ali to come onto the stage and cheer us with his performance, with his Islamic jokes, and giving dawah in a fashion.
Testing 1, 2, 3. Wow. Okay, this one works nice. All right. Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So this is my second time up. The first time I got very nervous. I apologize. I can't even do my shahada right because that's how nervous I was. But I wasn't in the position of. It was kind of surprising. You're coming up too? No, you're just watching me. Okay. You're just gonna stand there? Okay, that's fine. Awkward. You can stand there if you like. It's okay. I want to be on camera. So the first time I was actually very nervous because me and the sheikh and me actually, he was telling me, okay, you give the introduction and basically he'll talk about the shahada and do that. I said, fantastic. So I came and did the quick introduction and then the sheikh disappeared and then I got sick by myself. And then they found the sheikh and he sat down and he's like, no, you go. And that's kind of got me nervous. So anyways, this time I'll hopefully be less nervous, inshallah. And we'll do this one more time. Baba Ali, take 2. No shahada this time, but this is just regular Baba Ali. Without my feet tangled. Okay. So, there's a lot of different topics I was sitting there thinking about what to discuss tonight. And I wasn't 100% sure, and I actually wrote down the topic here. And as you can see, I marked it because I said I'll talk about something completely different. And I said, you know what? So I'm going to start off with the topic of Ramadan. How was everyone's Ramadan, by the way? Okay. Ramadan, mashallah, is a the best part of the year. We have no question about that. But did you know it's the one part of the year that everybody knows exactly what time Maghrib is? Right? What time is Dhuhr? I don't know. What time is Asr? I don't know. What time is Maghrib? 6:06. Right? To the minute. You know what time Fajr is? And what time Maghrib is? But no one has any idea what Dhuhr is. Whenever the time in the masjid says Dhuhr, we go pray Dhuhr. But Maghrib, we know exactly what it is. But the one thing about Ramadan is, subhanAllah, I work in a normal job during the week. And in my normal job, I work with basically almost all non-Muslims. There's about 1 or 2 Muslims I work with, but everyone's non-Muslim. And a lot of them have no idea about Ramadan, and they don't really understand fasting. So, I remember a time this girl at work, they had carrot cake. So in America, during like people's birthdays and stuff, they bring cake and then they share it with different people. And this girl asked me, would you like some carrot cake? I said, no, I'm fasting. She's like, fasting? Yes, it's Ramadan, we don't eat. Well, how long don't you eat for? I said, for the entire day. What? I eat at night. For how long? 30 days. 30 days, you're going to die! Can you at least drink some water? And I said, no, we don't drink water either. For how long? 30 days. 30 days, no water! I said, no, we drink at night. It's like, oh, okay. So you don't drink any water during the day, nothing? And I said, look, we've been doing it for 1,400 years. We figured it out, no one dies. So at work, we don't have a lota, right? They just have Kleenex. So if you want to go to the bathroom, you have to wipe yourself, and it's not good. So what I do is we have water things, not like this, but they have normal water things that you drink out of water bottles, and they're plastic, and as soon as you finish the water bottle, instead of throwing it away, I take the water bottle and I put it under my desk. The reason why is so I can recycle this water bottle, so I can take it to the bathroom, use it, and then throw that away. The girl who sits next to me, the same carrot cake girl, asked me, she's into those health, I guess, things, she wants to recycle, save the world. She was saying, Ali, you have all these water bottles on your desk, can I recycle those? And I said, I'm already recycling them. I didn't explain anything more than that because this is work. You have all these people working next to you, so you don't want to explain too much details. Wallahi, this is a true story. So I'm saying wallahi so you don't think I'm like making this up to make you laugh. These are true stories. I actually had to go to the bathroom and I went and there's a big water bottle, bigger than this, and I had to go fill it up and our sink is very narrow, so you can't fill up the water bottle in the sink. So I had to go to the kitchen to fill up the water bottle. We have a kitchen in our work. So I went up to the water bottle and I'm filling up the water, and that same girl walks into the kitchen. This is during Ramadan, by the way. And she's like, Ali, what are you doing? And I have the water filling it up. I'm like, nothing. And she's like, I thought you can't drink water during Ramadan. And I'm like, it's not for drinking. Then she's like, what is it for? I don't want to talk about it, I gotta go. And I go to the bathroom, I finish my business, get rid of the water bottle, throw it away, come back to my desk, and I'm thinking to myself, how do I explain this to this girl? She has no idea what's going on, and I don't want to talk about doing work, and co-workers are all going to say, what about what's going on? So I said, let me type her an email. And I actually typed an entire email explaining everything what happens with the water bottle in the bathroom, so she won't ask me any more questions. She read the email, and she never asked to recycle any of my water bottles ever again. But the point of all this stuff is that a lot of people have no idea about Muslims. And this is all brand new to them. So when they see you and they interact with you, this is new. And actually, believe it or not, that discussion started many more discussions about Islam and the claim, like we started with cleanliness. And I explained that Muslims have to be clean. And we wash ourselves, before every salah to make sure we're clean. So I explained all these different things to her. And then a lot of stuff got her interested in Islam, and we've been talking back and forth. So anyways, I want to share my Ramadan story. SubhanAllah. So, one discussion I was thinking today, because we have the curtain between the men and the women, is a topic of marriage. How many people here, who's this laughing? How many people here are actually married? Can I get a raise of hands? Wow, so we have 4 sisters and 9 brothers. So it's like, somebody's not balanced here. Okay, maybe we should have a marriage conference next time. Is everybody else single? MashaAllah. Okay, I wasn't prepared. You're coming behind me now. Okay, that's fantastic. I thought you said when I said who's married, you came back here to take a picture. Okay. So anyways, when we go to school, you get a lot of stuff that you're told about. When you go to university, you're told that you're going to be doing a lot of exams, there's a lot of studying, there's a lot of things going on. But when you get married, no one tells you anything what's going to happen. Your parents don't sit down and say, okay, this is what marriage life is, this is what's going to happen, this is what marriage, everything. They don't tell you anything. All your parents say is sign here, Mubarak, go figure each other out, and that's it. Nothing else. And it's already hard enough to learn about the opposite gender because, as you said, there's a curtain from one side to the other. The only thing you see is feet. That's it. You don't know which sister to even marry. Sister, I'm interested in you. Which one? The one with the purple socks. You don't know. We don't have this stuff. And the khatibs, we don't often talk about men and women, the differences between men and women. So I said, you know what? Of all the topics I can discuss, let's talk about men and women today. I've been married, alhamdulillah, for 10 years. And I've learned so much stuff in marriage that I wish I knew way back when. So I'm going to share some of the stuff I already know with the hopes that it will help you. You don't have to go through some of the stuff I went through. Number 1, men and women communicate very differently from each other. Very different. It's like 2 different species. This side and this side is completely different from each other. Not just the barrier, everything is different. I'll show you how socially different they are. Average man speaks 12,500 words per day. They're all laughing, everyone's like this. See, the women can laugh, they have all these extra words to say, you guys have no words to say, you probably used all your words already today. By the way, sisters, this will answer the question that when your husband comes home, how was your day? He's already spoken 11,999 words, and this is why the brothers say, good, alhamdulillah. It's just, all your words are finished. But what the brothers realize when you first get married is your wife does not speak 12,000 words per day. And this is a real number. The average woman speaks 25,000 words per day. This is why when the brother comes home and says, honey, how was your day? And his wife's like this, The guy has too many words. And not only will the sister tell you about her day, she'll tell you about Khadija's day, Maryam's day, every sister in the community's day. And I didn't even ask about their day. It doesn't matter, I'll tell you. And the brother is overloaded with information. How social are sisters, brothers? Very different. Brothers, you know, we don't even need to speak. Brothers, believe it or not, we can sit down in a room for hours and not say a word to each other and we're just fine. Brothers want to go fishing. Put two brothers in a fishing boat. And you can't talk when you're going fishing. It's quiet time. You go fishing, you come back with 2 buckets of fish. Did you have a good time, brothers? Yes. They're not using the words right now. They're saving it for later. But yeah, yes. Sisters, put 2 sisters on a boat. No one's allowed to say a word to each other for 4 hours. I don't care how many fish they catch. Did you guys have a good time? No. Very different. Socially very different. I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm talking right now. Baba Ali's talking. You know how when he's talking back there and other people are taking pictures? The guys are walking around doing their thing. If I'm talking and someone needs to go to the bathroom, someone needs to go to the toilet, you know what the brothers do, sisters? The guy will get up and walk back there, walk downstairs and go to the toilet. Am I right? No one pays attention to him. It's completely normal. When a sister says, I need to go to the toilet, she's like, I need to go to the toilet. The entire row of sisters get up and they go to the toilet. Brothers, this does not happen, sisters. Never do you have a brother sit next to the other brother. Brother, I need to go pee. You want to come with me? It doesn't happen. Communication, the reason why, sisters, is because brothers, communication is completely different. You know, even in the restroom, the average men, that when we are friends, and once we go into the toilet area, men do not look at each other, we do not speak to each other, unless it's in the wudu area, no men communicate with each other. And can I get a raise of hands, how many brothers have actually spoken to complete strangers in the bathroom? Not Muslim brothers, just complete strangers in the bathroom. I don't have one hand raised here. Sisters, how many of you have spoken to complete strangers in the bathroom? About 50% of the sisters just raised their hands. You know what you're going to say when you get home to your wife? What are you talking about in the bathroom? Completely different. So what are we learning from this? As always funny, but what we're learning here is this. That when you come home and you're speaking and your day is done, your wife sometimes wants to talk even though you don't want to talk. And if you lend her your ear and you listen to her, then she'll think you're the best husband in the whole wide world because you're listening to her and she gets to let her out her words. Because if a woman keeps those 25,000 words in her, it builds up. And if it builds up and builds up, she ends up grouchy. Why are you so angry? I don't know. You want to talk about something? Actually, I do. And she starts talking, and she goes, I feel so much better. Am I right, sisters? Listen, brothers, all those brothers who are single, take down notes. Otherwise, you'll be coming back talking to the imam like, brother, what's wrong with my wife? Baba Ali has already told you. Okay. Number 2. Men and women handle stress very differently. Men, when you're stressed, you had a very tough day at university, you had a very tough day at work, you just had a very stressful day. When you come home, what do you want? Peace? What else do you want? Food? Okay. What else do you? You're hungry, brother. Someone give this brother food. What else do you guys want? Left alone? Yes. Most brothers want to be left alone when they're stressed. Right? So when a brother comes, this is a rookie husband. Okay, brother just got married yesterday. He comes home. His wife is stressed out. He comes home. Wow, she's crying. She's really stressed out. Something's really bothering her. I'll just leave her alone for 30 minutes. And then she looks at you and says, he doesn't love me. He doesn't care about me. What's wrong with this guy? And he thinks I'm the best husband in the world because I'm leaving her alone because that's what I would want. So what we're learning here, guys, this around. Men are not like women and women are not like men. The opposite. Sisters, when you are stressed, you want to talk about it. Sometimes you want to let it out. You don't need necessarily a solution, just someone to hear you. So when you see your husband stressed, and he comes home, he's angry or frustrated or something happened at work or school, you're like, honey, you want to talk about it? He's like, no. You want to talk about it? No. So what's wrong? Nothing. What's wrong? Nothing. What's wrong? You're driving me crazy! And the brother will get angry, and you're like, why are you yelling at me? He's like, because you won't leave me alone. She's like, why would I leave you alone? Because for sisters, remember, they're growing up with sisters, and brothers are growing up with brothers. So you learn only to interact with brothers. And sisters are mostly interacting with sisters. So this is why they handle stress differently, and when they see someone stressed, that's how they figure, okay, this is how I'm going to handle it with my husband, and the husband will say, okay, this is how I'm going to handle it with my wife, but it's exactly wrong. You know, many of the people, they are, you know, of all the people in this community, you're going to eventually marry somebody, inshallah. And you're going to say, of all the sisters here, I'm going to marry that sister. And you're going to say, of all the brothers here, I'm going to marry that brother. But how does this perfect thing that you think this is the only person I want to marry, 2 years later, you're here and asking the imam, how do I get divorced? What's the process? Did you know the average divorce rate in the Muslim Ummah is 31%? That means one out of every 3 fancy weddings that you go to will end up nothing. It's just for show. No, nothing. Nothing comes good out of it. It just goes back to divorce. So my point of all this stuff, even though as funny as it is, there's an actual message in it, with the hopes that you guys would take this message and use it, inshallah. So next thing between men and women is very different. Men, sisters, I'll tell you this right now. We have no idea what to do when you cry. We don't know. Brothers, you know why? Because brothers don't cry in front of other brothers. I don't say, Assalamu alaikum, Muhammad, how you doing? It doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. You know, brothers like, if you see the brothers' pictures right now, they're very serious. Brothers are very serious. Like, 1, 2 guys are laughing. But everybody else is very serious. They don't necessarily show emotion. And the reason why men don't show emotion is because oftentimes it's a sign of weakness. That's why most guys think. Now, I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but that's what people think. So they're very tough sometimes. Men are tough. So we don't know how to deal with someone when they start crying because guys don't usually cry. And brothers, subhanAllah, sometimes we act we say the wrong things, makes it worse. You come home, rookie husband. Your wife is crying, and you look at her, and you say something dumb, like, is something bothering you? What? She continues to cry, you don't know what to do, so you're like, so you want me to make you a sandwich? Again, brothers, this doesn't fix anything. Sisters will sympathize with one another, they'll get her a tissue, tell me what's wrong, let it out, and once she talks and talks and talks, she feels so much better. Am I right, sisters? Yes. Next thing, nodding. Men nod and women nod. Nodding is normal in conversation. But what's confusing and starts fights in relationships is because men nod for a certain reason and women nod for a different reason. When two women sit across from one another, one sister will talk, and while one sister is talking, the other one will be like this the whole time. The whole time. No matter what the sister is saying. You think I'm joking? You can watch this after we're done. Watch your own sisters, your mom, or your aunties. Just like a bobblehead the whole time, no matter what the other sister is saying. You know what that actually means when sisters do that? The sister means, I am listening to you, continue speaking. That's what it means. Now sisters, the brothers, we don't nod except for one reason. When I agree with what the brother is saying. So when two guys are sitting across from each other, one guy will talk, and the whole time the other guy's like this. And the once in a while, like this. And that's it, I agree. So what's the problem, Baba Ali? The problem is when this sister marries this brother, they're having a conversation, they're fighting, or they're arguing, or misunderstanding over something silly. You know, honey, the man is talking. I was thinking that since you're doing so good at laundry, I thought I'd bring the community's laundry to you so you can do everyone's laundry. How's that sound? And so I was like, And I thought, since you're so good at taking care of 4 children, I'll bring our friends' family children and their family's children so you can open up a little daycare, all for free, and you can handle them too. And since he continues talking, and at the end his wife's like, I said, what do you think? His wife's like, no way. And then he's like, I don't understand. I thought you agreed with everything I said. And the wife will say, why would you think that? He's like, I don't know. And then the opposite, brothers. Your wife is talking, and the whole time, even if you agree or disagree, you're like this. You're not listening. You're not giving nods. You're not paying attention. You're not giving any signal that you're listening to her. And this is why every single married man who raised his hand has heard this sentence from his wife more than once, including myself. If you're listening to me, repeat to me everything I just said. And then we as parents will repeat everything your wife said. It's like, wow, he is listening. Because all you have to do, brothers, is this. And you don't have to repeat anything, and your wife said, oh, mashallah, he's a good husband. Next, sympathy, empathy. Sisters know how to show empathy with one another. They do this thing, brothers, that no brothers do, basically. Only sisters do it, and they do it together at the same time. It's not a word. I'll try to imitate the best I can. Aww. It's amazing, sisters, because they can't even control it. If I say you're going to do it, it's okay, I won't do it on purpose. They'll do it and they couldn't control it, it comes out accidentally. Because one sister was telling the other sister, you know what, my daughter, she's having the sniffles today, her nose is running, I'm trying to, and so, oh. And you know, my friend's mom, she passed away and then she's crying and, oh. What the brothers do? Mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. They don't know how to respond to these things. I'll give you a story myself. This is a true story. When I met my wife for the first time, I had never seen her in person before. We talked on the phone. And this is way before I was Baba Ali. This was 5-6 years before I made any of my videos on YouTube. And I took my video camera with me. And I had it there just to document the whole experience because I had to go all the way to London to meet her. And when I got there and I met her for the first time, I took out after 20 minutes of speaking to her, I took out my video camera. And when I took out my video camera, she was so shy. She said, what's that for? I said, just in case this actually works out, I want to have footage that one day our children will ask, how did you guys meet? And I'll have footage of how we met. They are doing it. So, I took this footage, I put it into a DVD. I made everything from the day I met her to the day of the nikah, all the background thing, put it on DVD. I gave it to her 5 years later as a gift to show her how we met. I made a whole DVD cover and I gave it to her as a gift. They're still doing the awe. So when my point of all this stuff is empathy. When you're just nodding, it's not enough. You have to sympathize and empathize with your wife, and it makes her feel so much better. Now, sisters, I'm picking on the brothers all this time. I'm going to pick on the sisters a little bit too. Brothers, let me tell you what the biggest deal for brothers is. The biggest deal. You may not think this is a big deal, but this is the most biggest deal for brothers. When a brother does something, his most important thing is to feel, not necessarily, even more important than feeling loved, is to feel appreciated. And what I mean by that is, if he goes out of his way and does this, this, and this, for him, if you can say, thank you so much for doing this, I appreciate so much you're going out for work for our family, you're going to do this, you're going to do that, you're going to do this. If you do that for him, instead of saying, hey, why is this folded wrong, or why is this like this, then he will think you're the best wife in the whole wide world because you appreciate his efforts. And the more you appreciate your husband, or the more you make him feel appreciated, believe it or not, the husband will work even harder to please you. And if these sisters learn, some sisters learn this, you will see how much better your husband will become and how much more closer he will become with you as well. Next, communication between men and women. Very different. You know, brothers, when you eat dinner tonight, you put 8 brothers sitting at a table. And we put 8 sisters sitting at a table. 8 brothers sitting at a table is very different than 8 sisters sitting at a table. Let me explain to you why. When there's 8 brothers sitting at a table, one brother will stand up, one brother will sit down and speak, and the next brother will speak, and the next brother will speak, and never 2 brothers at the same time speaking. The reason why, sisters, is for those who are married or already know this, men cannot speak and listen at the exact same time. Too much confusion. We either speak or listen, or we only look at one person, then one person. Remember, in this whole setup, if one brother is speaking, then another brother is speaking, another brother is speaking, if any time 2 brothers speak at the same time, one older brother will get a brother, either you talk or you talk, I can't listen to both of you talk at the same time. Starts too much confusion for brothers, and we go back one by one. and you guys are laughing, remember next time when you're staying with a group of brothers, notice how in a small group, everyone only one at a time. Let's go to the sister's table. There's 8 sisters at this table, and every sister is actually facing another sister, and they're talking in 4 different conversations, because there's 8 sisters in 2 by 2 by 2 formation, and everyone is speaking and listening to all the conversations going on at the same time. You think I'm joking? The sister would be like, really? Fantastic, aww. When do you guys go camping? Do you guys tell me? We'll go next time together. Aww. If you take the brother from that table and bring him all the way to this table, this guy will be like this. Completely confused. 4 conversations, I can't even hear the brothers talk, and let alone 4 sisters talk. And if you ever have aunties sit down in a room, put the brother in the same room, the brother's lost. He has no idea what they're talking about. Completely confused. And brothers, we follow logic. We go A, B, C, D. We follow, if you jump around, you get lost. Sisters have the ability to jump around and jump back to the beginning, and then jump around, and everyone is on beat and no one lost anyone. Am I right, sisters? Yeah. So it's very, very different. Now let me tell you something that the brothers may not tell their wives, because they don't want to hurt their feelings, but I will say on their behalf. Men do not like to go shopping with their wives. Brothers like, now I will laugh, brother Ali. Tell them. Let me tell you why we don't like to go shopping. Men are very goal-orientated. Brothers have no problem, they actually go shopping, that's where they get their clothes from. So that we do actually go to a store and buy something. The thing is, when I want to go buy something, I say, hey, I want to go buy a lota, okay? I'm going to go to the store and I want to go buy a flower or a pen. And I go to the store and I want to buy a pen, and I walk into the shopping mall and I go straight to the pen store and I say, do you have this color pen? They're like, yes we do, or no we don't. Are you sure you have this pen? This is, sorry, we don't have it. Then we will walk out of the place and we will leave and we go home. This takes no more than 10 minutes. Am I right, brothers? You want a pair of pants, you want a shirt, whatever it is, it takes 10 minutes. You go with your wife and says, what are we going to do? I want to go buy a pair of shoes. Okay, let's go. So you go to the shopping center. This is a rookie husband because he doesn't know any better. He goes to the shopping center and it's like, what are we doing here? This is not the shoe store. This is the blanket store. It's okay. Let's look at some blankets first and then we go look at some shoes. And the guy's like, okay. He looks at some blankets, and then he goes to the pillow store, then he goes to the clothes store, and let's go to the wedding antiques. He said, well, are you looking to get furniture? And his wife's like, no. Let's go look at it though. Then you go and you look at the clock at 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours are going by, like, when are we going to get to the shoe store? So we're almost there. You actually finished all the stores in the shopping center, looked at everything that doesn't even fit you and you have no intention to buy. You get to the shoe store, she gets the shoes and says, do you have this shoe? And like, yeah, yes we do. They bring the shoe to her, she puts it on, she says, what do you think? So, oh, it looks great, can we go now? She says, no, should I get it or not? So yes, get it. I changed my mind, let's go home. And the guy will go crazy, he's like, what? Are you kidding? I spent 4 hours. It was between like, Dohor is Maghrib now. Can we go home? Yeah, we're going home. And you're not going to buy the shoes? I'm not going to buy the shoes. And the guy goes home like this. And his wife goes home like this. And for her, she did not have a bad day. She had a fantastic day. You had the most miserable day because you spent our whole time buying nothing and feel like a waste of a day. So let me tell you why it's a waste of a day. Brothers are goal-oriented, and because they need to get that thing, if they don't come back with it, they think you're disappointed, and then the whole day is ruined. Because they're trying to make you happy. Remember when we said before, they're trying to provide so they make you happy? What they don't understand now, I'll explain. For sisters, when they go shopping, the point isn't necessarily always to buy something. The point is to spend time together, and this gives an excuse to talk and walk, and just to browse around, just for fun, and to talk and to let things out, and then you go home and you don't have to buy something to be happy. Am I right, sisters? Brothers, you just saved yourself a lot of money. Last but not least, appreciating your wife. All right, so appreciate your husband, now appreciate your wife. Your wife will not come to you and say, I don't appreciate you, or you don't appreciate me, or anything like that. It doesn't happen that way. Women speak indirectly. You see, brothers, for those who are rookies, first year of marriage, you'll be told by your friends, you are the head of the household. What they don't tell you is when you get married, yes, you are the head, but your wife is the neck. And for those who know anything about anatomy, the head does not move without the neck. So all those people that think they're in charge, you're not in charge, your wife is in charge. Anyways, if you don't appreciate her efforts, taking care of their children, when she cooks for you, everything is a complaint, your wife will not yell at you. Your wife will do something different. Your wife will leave you with 2 small children and say, I'll be back in 10 minutes. And before she leaves, she'll say, there is pizza in the oven, there's pasta for us, make sure you cook the pizza, the pasta, make sure the boiling water, put the pasta in. My friend is going to call, answer the phone when she calls. Please record the news for me, important Islamic program coming up. One baby needs to be changed, the other baby, keep an eye on her, the front door is open, assalamu alaikum, goodbye. Boom, she's gone. You're like, no, take the kids, she's already gone. You forget what was what. The pizza gets burned, the pasta doesn't get cooked, her friend calls, you're confused, what's going on? The baby, you can't see the other kid, the other one has poo-poo everywhere, the front door is open, you're running around, what happened? She comes home, what happened? The phone rang. I can only do one thing at a time. And then you come and watch your wife. She's on the phone talking to her friend. She closes the pizza oven door with her friend. She's cooking pasta like this. Really? And she's watching the news. She's watching. Yeah, I'm watching it. Yeah, I'm listening to you too. Right? She's playing Tetris with her BlackBerry on one hand, and with the other eye, she's watching both children. Hanifa, run, come back here. Hanifa, change your sister. All at the same time. And then you say, mashallah, that's my wife. Am I right, sisters? You learn to appreciate certain things, subhanAllah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given the ability of men of physical strength, has given the women ability, being able to multitask and do many things at the same time. So alhamdulillah, we should appreciate both sides, and with the hopes of that will benefit us in the hereafter, inshallah. So, as much as funny stuff I said today, remember there's points and messages in all this stuff, and hopefully you'll take something back with you. So, in our segment today we had something to do with how we came to Islam. So I want to share you my story about that. So I'm a Muslim convert. I did not know anything about Islam whatsoever. Nothing, like zero. And oftentimes I get the question, what were you before Islam? And believe it or not, still in the year 1995, I was having rocks and idols around my neck and worshipping idols. And believe it or not, was this from Iran? Did you pick this up from back Middle East? No, I picked this up from Los Angeles. There was idol worshippers in Los Angeles. And because I had no identity and nothing, and my parents were completely secular, they did not care if I practiced this religion, that religion, or no religion. So when they saw me doing witchcraft, idol worshipping, and all these other different things, they said, as long as you become a doctor or engineer, we don't care, worship whatever you like. So, I was doing these stupid things, and eventually got to a point that I realized that these rocks are not helping me. They're not doing what the books and the things that they say they would. Then I started thinking to myself, this is creation. Everything is creation. And there's one or two things. There's either the creator or the creation. There's nothing else. So either I can worship the creation or the creator. And I'm going to go look for the truth. And if I find it, I will change my life overnight. And if I don't find it, I will continue living my life as is. So every time someone came to a religion to try to tell me about it, I will see, is this a creation or a creator, basically? So if you say, worship Jesus, I'll say, okay, Jesus is a human being. I'm not going to worship a man, just like I'm not going to worship Buddha, or a statue or an idol. These are all creation. Show me the creator. And if you say this or that or this is a creator, prove it to me and I will follow it immediately. I'll give up everything in my life and I'll follow it. My friend found out about this, and he helped me on this quest. And he found out, he said, Ali, there's this camp of Islam, so you can go learn what Islam is. At that time, I studied coming across most of the religions. I wasn't interested in any of them because I found flaws in each one of them. And when it came to Islam, Islam was the last religion left. So I said, let's go to the camp. So guess who I called? I said, I know a guy from Nation of Islam. Let me call this guy. By the way, for those who don't know, this is mentioned with Islam whatsoever. The organization has nothing to do with Islam. I find this nationalistic guy, I ask him to come. I found this guy who's an alcoholic, kind of, and I asked him to come. I get my girlfriend who has purple hair, I ask her to come. I asked all these random people of the bad friends to all come with me to this Islamic camp to learn Islam. The first thing we got when we got to the camp is they said men are separated and women are separated. And I've never seen this in my life before, except for one place, which was in history class, when the Nazis separated men and women, and the women went to the showers and you never saw them again. And I was telling my girlfriend, don't go to the showers! Don't go to the showers! And I was being serious because I didn't know who these people were. We didn't know anything about this religion. So we get to this event, and I was one of the worst kids you can think of. The worst. They said, brother, many years later, they said, brother, we've had many, many bad kids in this camp before, but by far, when you became to learn about Islam, you were by far the worst we've ever seen. And if we had to put you on a bus and put you all the way back out of this camp because we thought you were going to ruin everybody else's camp, we would, but it was too much snow. There was actually so much snow that snowed in that I was forced to go sit inside of a lecture hall like this and actually listen to the speaker. And when I finally sat down to listen, it caught so much, it was so amazing. Islam was so beautiful and it made so much sense that I was listening to one lecture after another. And then it was not just a discussion, because you've heard people talk about great things. I saw action. I sat at a table where all these different people with different parts of the world, with different colored faces, with speaking different languages, sat next to each other eating dinner, and they spoke in a way that you don't see families talking to each other. A close bond that I asked this question, how long have you guys known each other for? And most of them that just met at the camp. And I said, there's something unique about these people. See, if you go to even the prison system, they separate by, every prison you go to, they separate by race or color or something. Every prison. This is default human beings. You know, if you go to school, for those who go to school, you know, there's these different cliques. These are the athletes, and these are the grunge people, and these are this, and these are that. Everyone has their little cliques. But these people, there was no clique. Because I didn't have a choice of the color of skin I was born. No one asked me, do you want to be born in Iran? Do you want to be Pakistani? Do you want to be this? Do you want to be that? No one asked us. So how can we be proud of this stuff? You can't be proud of anything that you have no control over. It was by default, and you can't go back and change anything if you wanted. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's choice. So nothing you can be proud of. So I said to myself, these people did not have a choice of this color of skin, or their languages, or where they're born, but they're bonding with something different. And their bond is something they do choose, and that's Islam. And I really like their attitude, I like how they're carrying themselves, I like their character. Unfortunately, we don't see that very often in the Muslim community. We see very good brothers, he may even look very Islamic, but his character stinks. And it's like, you scare people away from Islam sometimes. You think you're helping, but sometimes you're scaring people because of the way you act. Not the way you look, but the way you act. But I like the way these people acted, the way they treat each other, the way I saw, and I want to learn more about them. And that night I asked questions and questions and questions. By the next morning I went to my girlfriend and said, look, I can't be girlfriend-boyfriend with you anymore. It's either Islam or nothing. So what's going on? I said to myself, if I ever find the truth, I will change, and I'll give up everything, even the things I love, including you, which I love very much, but Allah or my Creator will come first. And she was shocked. And all these things kept going. When I went back home, now before I had left, I didn't share this part of the story, my father had triple bypass surgery, and it came to a point that he went to UCLA hospital. My mother told me, Ali, do not go to this camp because your father, they say he's going to die, and I need you to stay with the family when he dies. And I said, I have to go to this camp. He says, why? Because I'm sitting here watching him die, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be dead next. He did not see death coming. Just like Boona Mohammad's message, you don't know if you're guaranteed to even go home tonight. I'm sitting there thinking, like, he didn't see it coming. What if I don't even make it and I don't find the truth and I die in ignorance? I'm going to the camp even if he is disobeying you. And she was very angry, and I left for the camp. So when I came back from the camp, my father made it through the surgery. The doctors were wrong. He was alive, and they put him back home. And what happened was, when I told my mom that I'd becoming Muslim and I'm going to follow Islam, she started screaming. My dad started hitting his head against the wall. And the whole house went crazy. I'm thinking to myself, I don't understand. You know what this means? I'm going to listen to you now. I'm going to obey my parents. I'm going to start doing good things. I'm going to start hanging with those bad friends and all these different things. And they were going crazy over it. And I said, SubhanAllah, I don't get it. And I said, wow, I think I get it. My trial begins today. If you want to go to a university and say, I want to become a professor, I want to become an analyst, a PhD. They're going to say, you know what, you can't just get a piece of paper from our university with that. You have to work for it. Before you even get here, show us the grades. That means you have to work just to walk into this place. After you walk into this place, pay us this much money. After you pay this much money, you study for all these exams, and even then you're not guaranteed. And then you work and you work and you work, and eventually when you graduate, you get a piece of paper in your hand that says the word PhD on it, and the next day you can die. And it can be all without no work. It meant nothing. So if you want Jannah, don't you think it's going to be more than that? Jannah is forever, and it's guaranteed. So people don't put the same effort into it. So I said, the test will come. As soon as you give your shahada for the same sister today her test will begin. The tests are going to continue coming, just like those generations before us, and just like now, we will continue tested to see, are you worth entering Jannah? If the best of you people are going to enter Jannah, are you among the best people? And Allah will test you and test you and test you. Even Adam's weight of arrogance cannot walk in. So who are we? Unless we clear that arrogance out of us. Something to think about. So I told this to my parents about becoming Muslim and listening to them, and my parents went crazy. They went so crazy I couldn't practice this religion in this house anymore, and I said, I have to move out. Now for those who don't know, I come from a very, very, very rich family. To the point I would say possibly my grandfather could have been a billionaire. It's the wealth, there's so much wealth in the family, it's only a few of us that are not extremely wealthy. Most of our family, my wealth family, is extremely, extremely wealthy. There's only about 3 or 4 of us that are not like that. So when I came to my family and I told them that I'm going to follow this, they said, you have 2 choices. Either you follow your religion, or you have access to us, our wealth, live in this house comfortably, everything. I said, this is an easy choice. I follow the religion. And I left the house, and I moved into one of the worst neighborhoods in Los Angeles. Till then, I had never heard gunfire at night. My neighbors under me were drug dealers. It was the worst environment. You see, I didn't have really a real work experience because my dad used to pay me not to work. It was a shame in the family if one of our family members even worked. So he would pay me not to work, and that was a salary I would get just to protect the honor of the family. So if you think Pakistani family has some honor issues, you have not seen Persian families yet. So I had no real work experience, and my college is nothing. I have to go back and I started from scratch. And I worked and I worked and I worked and I had nothing. The relationship between the girl I was dealing with, it was gone. My friends, most of my friends were gone, except for those who became Muslim with me. Everyone went in their own direction. I was left alone, sitting in a room, in a place with gunfire and craziness, and I realized I had nothing. I had hundreds of friends. I was driving a Mercedes. I have all this stuff. Now I have nothing. At one point, I had negative 10 cents in my bank account. And I'm like, what is this? And I was like, wow. For the first time in my life, I'm content. I'm happy. Because I have something I never had before, and that's the rope of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have Islam. And Islam has brought me peace. And I have peace in my heart, and you can take everything away from me. And as long as I have this peace, it's priceless. And as I was telling you, the test will come. That was my test from the very, very beginning. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala slowly started giving me things. Started slowly giving me things, and subhanAllah, my family, my parents with so much money, their house was taken away. Fighting, disputes, all these different things. Then the business was taken away. Again, fighting, disputes, until the marriage was separated. And everything was taken away from them. And me, the opposite. Till this day, I've never ever asked my parents for money, ever. I didn't want them to think that Islam is going to fail and I need you. I knew the rizq is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not from them. So I kept working and working and working, and then the table was switched. SubhanAllah. Finished my school, finished this, got one job after another, after working, just working my way up, and alhamdulillah, I'm more than content right now, alhamdulillah. It's because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will test you and test you. I'm trying to give a reminder to everyone here, inshallah. Sometimes you're going through a difficult time. Now at the beginning I talked about marriage, but marriage for some people is a difficult time for them. Other issues could be other things, families, or not being able to have children, or dealing with your parents, and your parents are not listening, they won't let you do this or let you do that. Sometimes you have to be strong, because remember, this is a test from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and remember to be strong. And that's my message. Jazakallah khair, and thank you for inviting both me and Boona. And just want to give you guys 2 things we have here. One is a DVD that I have, that's 2 DVDs actually, it's about 2 hours and something long. And this is outside, they're selling, inshallah. Sister Nashad is out there, or was out there. And then we have Boona Mohammad's t-shirt. that says Iqra on it. And all the proceeds, as Boona will tell you, all his proceeds will go to him, and all my proceeds will go to me. See, I have to leave you with some type of joke, otherwise people are like this. Okay, let me leave you with a joke so you guys leave with some happiness because I got so serious for you. My videos are very, if you, those who watch my videos, type in Baba Ali on YouTube. They're very, very comical, then they get serious, then they're comical, and there's always a message. So you guys got the message, so let me leave some little bit of humor so you guys can walk back with a ha 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 now. Okay. American Airlines is flying through Iranian airspace. And the plane is going through and it's near the Persian Gulf, and the problem with the engine is the pilot starts feeling the engine starting to tremble. He looks outside the window and he sees some smoke coming out of the engine, the right engine. He starts hitting the switch and says, do we have a problem? He tells his co-pilot, call in, give me the phone. Who's the closest? This is Tehran Towers. Tehran Towers is the closest towers. Okay, click Tehran Towers, give it to me. Tehran Towers, this is American Airlines Flight 7612. We need help, we need help. We have our smoke coming out of our right engine. Is there anyone there to help us? Tehran Towers. Hello, my friend. No problem. I'm a mechanic. I know how to fix everything. The guy who works here is not here right now. I help you, no problem. No, sir, we don't need a mechanic. We need someone to help us. We have smoke coming out of our right engine. I need to speak to a pilot. Is there anyone there who has the background for that? So, hey, my friend, listen. They wouldn't leave me in charge unless I knew what I was doing. No problem. Okay, we have smoke coming out of our right engine. We have smoke coming out of our right engine. Can you tell us what to do? Okay, look, easy. If you have smoke coming out of your right engine, just move power to left engine. Okay, that sounds logical. Okay, I'm moving power to left engine. Okay, and I think something is wrong because we have smoke coming out of both engines. We have smoke coming out of both engines. Okay, no problem. I'm a mechanic. If you have smoke out of both engines, just use backup engine. Okay, we're using backup engine, but the switch isn't working. Let me get this right. Your right engine is not working? No, the right engine is not working. Our plane's starting to shake. And your left engine is not working? No, the left engine is not working. Sir, we're starting to move down. We're going down. And your backup engine is not working? No, the plane is shaking. I'm losing control. You mean none of your engines are working? None of the engines are working. No problem. I'm a mechanic. No problem. What? Just repeat after me. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu Muhammad Rasulullah. What does that mean? Help! I'm just joking. And then the brother who was coming up, you're coming up to speak? I'm telling you about this one. I can stand behind you if you like. What am I doing? I'm not even doing anything, people are laughing.
It's not working. Yeah, it's working. Thank you, you're great. There will be some questions and answers. This is the last session here now. If the audience has questions, please come up with your questions, and for both Baba Ali and Boona Mohammad. Boona Mohammad, please come up onto the stage, please. Yeah, what are Islam thoughts about homosexuality? Can a gay be a Muslim?
Guys, you have to realize that, mashallah, brother's a comedian, I'm a poet. We're not faqirs, we're not sheikhs, we're not scholars. These type of questions, inshallah, you should ask somebody who is knowledgeable. You should ask somebody who has knowledge of these fields. So for us, ask simple questions. You want to know, what's your inspiration? When did you start? How many kids do you have? This is appropriate. But anything past that, nobody's going to answer you. Okay? No, nothing about the Mahdi, nothing about Dajjal, nothing about anything. Okay? No more Dajjal questions, please. Okay.
I actually got something similar. I was telling the brother. I'm not saying any fiqh aspect of it, but I get a lot of questions when it comes to my videos. And there was someone who actually emailed me and said, I want to accept Islam. I just have one question. Since I'm gay, I want to know what that says about, what Islam says about that. And my answer to him was, in Islam, human beings, we have desires. Now, I don't have the same desire as you do, because I don't have those type of feelings, but you have desires. A heterosexual person has desires to be with all these different people he sees, but he doesn't, because he follows Islam. In Islam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed for you to be with your wife. Very simple. You can be with her, but you have to be with your wife. So if you have extra desires, you have to hold back those desires. So my answer to him is, if you have such desires, you have to hold back and follow the path of what Allah has set up for you, with the hopes of pleasing Allah, and then Allah will reward you for giving up your desires and following what the correct path is. Sometimes we have feelings that's not necessarily good for us. Not necessarily even just this, but other things. That's not good for you, but Allah knows what's good for you. So that's my answer to him, not necessarily this specific question, but hopefully it answers that question.
But we have a sheikh here, we can ask him if he would like to answer this one. Because this question was to you in direction. And because of that, all right.
Baba Ali, how many wives do you have?
Interesting enough, that came from the brother's side, but one, alhamdulillah.
Simple questions, inshallah. I don't know, what's my favorite color? This is acceptable.
I don't know who would like to answer this one, but if we have some disagreements, differences with our parents, what's the best way to solve this one?
Again, this is something that's, because it's sometimes people, they take the liberty of just answering these questions, but I'm not in a position to advise you in that to that extent. I think that every situation is different. It's just a general, how do I deal with my parents? I can't generally answer. If there's something specific, perhaps I could give you advice, but if there's something that you need help with, you should speak to one of our speakers, or your imam, or your local imam, or the imam of this masjid, and somebody who can direct you to some appropriate answers, inshallah.
All right. What is your halt or deen? I think you have something on your shirt. Yeah.
The question is, what is half our deen? Half our deen is a shirt that I've been wearing recently. 10 years ago, I was looking to get married. And I can share you a short story. Okay. This one I have to stand up, sorry. You can stand behind me if you like, there's no problem. I'm used to it, the other guys are doing it. So, I was looking to get married 10 years ago. Shortly after learning about Islam. No, was it 10 years ago? A little over 10 years ago. I was learning, shortly after learning about Islam. And I was a brand new convert, you didn't know too much about this and that, so I didn't know what to do. But at that time, I wasn't necessarily looking to get married. I'm sorry, two of my friends were looking to get married. We're all going to a conference together. And we're on the plane together, and I remember I was sitting in the middle seat. He had the right seat, the other brother had the aisle seat. And I said, why are you guys going to this conference? They said, oh, we're both looking to get married. So how do you get married in a conference? And I said, well, that's how you meet. There's no way to meet people. So, okay. He said, well, Ali, why are you going? I said, I'm going there to the bazaar to sell products. This was way before Baba Ali. So I had other products I was selling. And so, okay. So I went around the bazaar and I was selling products. And eventually I went back to my booth. And this one sister kept walking back to my booth and walking away and saying, Ali, I want to buy your CD, but I don't have money. We have to use the ATM machine. You guys call it ATM here? Or the debit machine? You get ATM machine and to get money. Because she was from Canada. And this was in the US. She didn't have a currency. I said, no problem, I'll hold one for you. She came back the next day. I don't have the $5 yet. I said, it's okay. I'll hold one for you. And then she came back again. I said, I don't have $5. I said, look, sister. You keep coming back like 5 times. Just take it. So are you sure? I said, just take it. It's okay. And she takes it, she walks away. Then my friend's next to me like this. Like, what? Did you give her a free CD? I said, yeah, what's the big deal? Ali? If you're interested in that sister, And I'm like, because I gave her a free CD? He said, no, not because you gave a free CD. You talked to that sister more than you spoke to any other sister, and many sisters bought products from you, and that's the one you spoke to, asked her questions and this and that. I can look at you and say you are interested in. I did not find someone for marriage. My friend didn't find someone for marriage, but you just found someone for marriage. And I said, brother, I'm not here to get married. I'm here to sell products. And he's like, Ali, go and talk to the sister because she was walking away, and you'll never get to see the sister ever again. This is a huge conference, 30,000 people. You'll never see in your life again. I'm like, brother, I didn't come here to get married. She can be a great sister, but I don't know anything about her. And he's like, Ali, this is what he means. This is what made me change. If you don't go do this, you'll always ask yourself, what if? And I'm like this. Wow, you're right. But how do I approach a sister for marriage? I don't know anything about the rules of Islam. I don't want to do anything wrong or haram or something like that. And the sister, I don't know where the sister even is. She's gone. And I was like, oh, give me a piece of paper. And I'm like, he's like, what are you doing? I'll be right back. And I get these people, I'm walking around looking at this Islamic conference, looking for the sister, making left turns and right turns, left turns and right turns. I finally find the sister. I walk up to her like, Assalamu alaikum, sister. And she's walking, he's like, wa alaikum salam. She walks right past me. And I'm standing there like, okay. Then I walk in front of her again, I'm like, Assalamu alaikum, sister. This is Assalamu alaikum, hello, not Assalamu alaikum, goodbye. You need to stop walking. Listen, I've spoken to you and I've seen you a few times, and I don't know anything about you. But I want to speak to you correctly for the sake of getting married. So I want to ask you one quick question. Are you single? She blushed. She was blushing, said yes. Okay, this is very awkward for me. I don't know what I'm doing. I apologize if I'm doing something wrong. And I want to do this the correct way. So I will give you my information. If you're interested in getting married or intention of getting married, you can respond to me. If you're not interested, then you can throw this piece of paper away. It's not awkward for you. It's not awkward for me. I'll go away. And before you throw it away, wait till I walk away, because then it will hurt my feelings. Okay, so I'm going to goodbye. And I go. I did not give the girl a chance to respond. I made left turns, right turns, left turns, right turns, right turns, all the way back to the booth. When I got back to the booth, the brother was like, had told all the brothers what I went to go do. And now I had like 6 or 7 brothers at the booth sitting there saying, what did you talk? You getting married? You weren't even looking, you were selling CDs and all these different questions. Tell us what happened. What was a piece of paper? So I walked to the sister and I'm sitting there explaining the story to them, and 7 brothers like this. All amazed. And then suddenly, one brother went like this, and all the brothers went like this. Like statues, they froze. And I'm like, and I continued talking, but I realized something's wrong. And I continued talking, and I realized something's wrong. And I realized something clicked in my head. And I looked at the brother and said, she's standing behind me? She was standing right behind me. Then I'm thinking to myself, this girl thought I went to do a joke. This was a joke, this was a dare, this was something to say, to play around. How am I going to explain this was actually, I had a right intention, not a bad intention? What am I going to say? But then I think to myself, wait a second, I don't know what she's heard, what she hasn't heard. Maybe just turn around and say Assalamu alaikum and wait for her to say something, and then we'll respond to that. Ready? Go. Turn around. Assalamu alaikum, sister. She's like, wa alaikum salam. There's a silence. And she's like, here's the contact information of my father so you can talk to him and ask permission and then we can talk. I'm like, is that it? She's like, yeah, what else would be? I'm like, nothing. Anyways, I talked to the sister, it didn't work out, but the sister Mashallah was a very good sister. And then I said, okay, what can I do? I looked at my local area for marriage, and I live in Los Angeles, and a lot of people there are, subhanAllah, very superficial. And I want to find a girl, believe it or not, brothers, it's very difficult sometimes. I want to find a girl who was feminine, and it was very difficult in my area. So I said I have to go and do the unthinkable 10 years ago, and I went on the internet. Internet? Yes, this was 10 years ago. Now relationships, 1 out of every 4 relationships starts online. 1 out of every 4, 25%. But back then it was very taboo. So I put my profile online, and I didn't know what website to use, so I used all of them. And I did not like these websites, they were expensive. My picture was on all these websites. I think anyone could find my picture on this. And it was very bad. And I was like, but there's no other choice. After talking to so many sisters, I finally eventually said, I don't know how to pick which one is right. I don't want to pick the wrong one and end up divorced like all these other people. So what I did is, every time a sister responded to me, I would send back them questions that didn't have right or wrong answers. And this is hopefully some advice you guys can do when you guys are looking to get married. You ask questions that don't have right or wrong answers, and that way you find out where the understanding of Islam is, what their personality type is like. And by asking these type of questions, you can find out if this person is compatible with you or not. You know, tell me something that inspires you. What do you do typically on a Friday night? When you get mad, how do you communicate? Would you rather be this or like this? Would you like this or like this? No right or wrong answer, just so you can pull out the truth. Because when you ask questions like, do you pray, do you fast, which you should ask, they're going to give you the answers that you want to hear. This happens for both non-Muslims and Muslims. So by asking questions that don't have right or wrong answers, this system was part of the system I started using and putting together, trying to help people get married. And I sent it to 17 sisters, and the 17th sister was the one sister who answered the questions correctly. That's the one I married 10 years ago, and until now I still feel like newlyweds with my wife. See, they do that. MashaAllah. So, my brothers are asking me, how did you find your wife? You're so happy, and all these people are having these problems. I said, I use a system. What system? I said, called like marriage system. I built it myself because the other sites are not working. So I took their sites and I manipulated it, and here's my version. I said, dude, this is awesome. You mind if I use these things? I said, sure. The brother used it and he got married. Another brother starts using and got married. I said to myself, maybe I should make a website based on this system. So I built a website last July, and since then till now, 181 people have told us they found the other half. And I constantly meet people in person and says, we met on your website. We met on your website. They whisper because the website's a private website. So this is one of those websites people use that they don't want everyone to know that they're actually on the website. So which is, alhamdulillah. I told people that my favorite part of Half Our Deen is not, and no matter if I make a profit or not from this project, I can't take any of it to my grave. But I hope to get barakah from the marriages that are put together from this, because every time I meet someone that has found someone else because of these efforts, the whole experience is priceless. So it's my favorite project so far, alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khair.
One part of the question was how many kids you have.
One part of that question was how many kids I had? Okay.
Another question.
I have 2 children. One his name is Amina and one his name is Hanifa. 2 girls. Oh. See, they're still doing it, bro. There's no brother like, mashallah, mashallah, mashallah. Oh. How many kids do you have?
I have 2 questions.
None that I know of.
How was your Ramadan in Ethiopia? No, it's to you.
I think I spoke about this yesterday, actually. You know, subhanAllah. I was able to spend one Ramadan. I mentioned this yesterday. I'm not Somali, by the way. Everybody keeps coming to me. What are you? I don't speak Somali, okay? So I don't know. But I was in Ethiopia, and I got to stay with, people who, generally, typically, obviously, we're familiar with, that part of the world is suffering immense amount of famine, to this day. And obviously, recently, there was the huge crisis in East Africa and Somalia in particular, where, our brothers and sisters are living day to day. I'll tell you one of the most horrific stories that I heard, subhanAllah. A mother was, she had a large family, and she was taking her children from one of the major cities to the refugee camps. And many of the people were dying on the way to the refugee camps. So this mother of about 4 or 5 children took her children from, I believe, Mogadishu to one of the refugee camps in the outskirts of the town. And on the way, her youngest child died. A baby, infant. Youngest child passed away. In order to save the other children, they were forced to eat the dead baby. So this is to give you an idea of the type of sacrifices people are being forced to make. SubhanAllah. Could you imagine a mother deciding to eat her own children? This is an extreme example of the fact that people are really being left with nothing to eat. Nothing to, to take with them. And the Sheikh mentioned a bit earlier that, subhanAllah, we are living in luxury you will not imagine. So yes, traveling to East Africa was quite an experience, because I got to see some of that. And I got to see, brothers and sisters during the month of Ramadan who would break their fast. And they would say, Alhamdulillah. They would say, Alhamdulillah, look at what I have. Look what Allah has given me. And it's very little. But they're still saying, Alhamdulillah. Look at us, subhanAllah. And I know, Jazakallah khair, the brothers have been treating us very nice. We can go out to these, mashallah, amazing restaurants. We order 50, steaks, chicken, mashallah, a whole buffet, everything. And we don't have to finish it all. We just eat a little bit, we leave. Well, we say, alhamdulillah. These people have nothing. And they're saying, alhamdulillah. We should feel ashamed. Wallahi, we should feel ashamed. Some of us forgot, what our families had to go through, what our parents had to go through, even for us to live in this type of luxury. So that situation was, it left a big impact on me. And, since then I've had a different perspective and trying to have a different outlook on the ni'mah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The blessings Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon us, which you may or may not take for granted. Some of us, alhamdulillah, we recognize that Allah has blessed us and we say alhamdulillah for it every day. Some of us, we couldn't care less. So actually I've been working on a project and in November I'm working with a charity called Human Appeal International. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. But I'm going to Morocco, visiting some of the orphanages there, and trying to draw attention to some of the issues that are occurring in these parts of the world. So I guess that's a nutshell, a bit of my experience in Ethiopia. I don't know. Is that okay? Yeah, okay.
One other question to you. What made you become a better Muslim?
What made me become?
Yeah. A better Muslim, a good Muslim.
Oh, I don't know if I'm a good Muslim. This is inshallah. Okay. Still, it's every day is a test. Every day you're still climbing stairs. We haven't completely reached the finish line yet. This dunya is one of those interesting places where, when you go to school, you write an exam, and then there's a day when the teacher tells you, this is your test, this is your score, this is what you got. And you can celebrate or you can say, darn, I should have done better. We will not know the results of this test, of this dunya, until Yawm al-Qiyamah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will tell you to enter His paradise or enter His nar. So I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to make us all of Ahlul Jannah. Say Ameen. Ameen, inshallah. So, there wasn't necessarily a particular instant that made me want to change my life. Similar to Ali, we both had very similar stories where, I was caught up in a lot of things as well. And for me, it came down to recognizing my priorities, and realizing that everything that I was enjoying in this world, everything was just temporary. Even the things which seem the most fun. If you're a person who smokes, you drink, you party, you do this, you do that, these things are just temporary. They're temporary highs. You get a little bit of fun and then that's it. You need to do it again in order to feel that rush. But one of the blessings that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has granted us with is the opportunity of His Jannah. Because Jannah is forever. You like to party in this world? Okay. This party don't stop. This party is forever. And this party is like nothing you've ever seen before. Everything you could want and more. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you more than what you could ask for. But how many of us actually visualize Jannah? How many of us contemplate? I did a poem earlier and I was telling you a little bit about the hellfire. And of course, we should always fear the hellfire and fear Allah's wrath. But how many of you know what you're actually working for? Do you ever stop and think and map out? SubhanAllah, me and Ali, on our tour, we were accompanied by a sheikh who was not able to join us today. But he does this funny little segment where he tells you his whole Jannah. He says, my Jannah is like this. You're going to walk in, there's going to be this fountain, there's going to be a chocolate lake here, this whole thing. And he goes in detail. And you're thinking, sitting there like, wow, this guy is really, mashallah, he's thought about it a lot. And he says, yes, this is what I think about every time, anytime you make a sin, you think, subhanallah, look what I'm depriving myself of. Anytime you want to, you're not sure about doing a good deed, you're not sure about your salah, remember that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised you gardens under which rivers flow, and much, much more. So this realization that, I don't want this world. This world is temporary. Anything could happen. There's no guarantee I'll make it home. There's no guarantee I'll make it to my next city or even visit my family again. But with all the good deeds that I do, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is calculating this for us. And inshallah, there will come a day when we will have our tallies presented for us, and it will be a blessed day, inshallah. So, that was a main factor in my wanting to change. Was, learning a little bit more about this deen. And always, and this shirt, can you pass me the shirt? people keep asking me, what does the shirt say? It says Iqra, right? And it says Iqra with an exclamation mark. Because this was the commandment that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave. It wasn't just, a verse, it was Iqra. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was telling the Prophet ﷺ, read, recite. And this was a commandment. SubhanAllah, look at the desire for knowledge that our religion bestows upon us. That it is wajib upon you as a Muslim to learn. Ignorance is not an excuse, it's a disease. Ignorance is not an excuse, it's a disease. If you suffer from ignorance, this is a disease in your heart. And the only cure to it is to learn. And the people who fear Allah the most are the ulama, the people who have knowledge. So, in order to fear Allah, you must know Allah. You must learn about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You must learn about this deen. And that will be a gateway for you to wanting to better yourself and change your life, inshallah, the more you desire to learn. So, it's beautiful to see this many young people here, to see this many people here that have a desire to, have Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and bless them in this life and the next. But continue on this journey. And the brother here and myself, we joke around. Ali's a very good friend of mine. And I don't know if you know, we travel a lot. We just came from a tour. We were in Australia. We did I think 4 or 5 cities. Mashallah, we've done a lot together. But we always joke around with each other that we're just the ushers. We're just trying to bring you guys in the room. Unfortunately, it's come to that time when a lot of us have, we don't have a desire to learn our deen. We don't really have a desire to better ourselves. You want to laugh. You want to joke around, you want to cry, you want to, of course, all these things. But the core knowledge lies with our scholars. I guess that's it. Nobody wants to hear me speaking. I'll just say this in closing, okay, that on behalf of myself and Ali, and I speak on behalf of Ali as well, inshallah, that if anything good you have heard, you have felt, it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if we could ask one thing of you, if I could charge admission at the door, it would be that you make dua for us. Yes. Ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept it from us. And ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us for our sins, because wallahi, I have a lot of sins. I have a lot of sins people do not know about. You think I'm up here and you think, mashallah, I have a beard and this and I'm so handsome. I know. Wallahi, that's not the case. I mean, well, perhaps the handsome part, but nonetheless. My point is that we need help. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive us. We need Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to forgive you. So, like I said earlier, make this a day of change. There's no coincidence that you are in this room today. There's no coincidence that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with the opportunity to hear from some of our amazing speakers, to enjoy some of these, amazing moments in Ali's life, and to hear anything good that I've had to say. So make this a day of change. Make this a day of benefit in your life and those around you. And I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to accept it from us, accept it from you, to bless you and your families, to forgive us all for our sins, and to reunite us in a similar setting, but better, in Jannah Firdaus. Say Ameen. Jazakumullah khairan wa salaam alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
There is a last question from Brother Usman.
Jazakallah khair for the very attractive, inspiring and
I think the mic's back, sorry.
I think.
So I have this one question to Brother Ali in regards to your introduction to Islam. You said that you were first introduced to a camp organized by Nation of Islam.
No, not Nation of Islam. I said I took someone from Nation of Islam with me.
Okay. So it was not in a camp, Islamic camp by Nation of Islam?
No, it's not Nation of Islam. I just stopped a very bad rumor. Good question. Jazakallah khair for clarifying.
Thank you very much.
So that's it?
Yeah, just wait.
It would be kind of weird if they invited me to Nation of Islam because I don't look like it. Everyone's black except for me. It's like, what's he doing here?
No, nothing. We would like to thank you guys a lot, and we have some gifts for you. Please, Brother Rizwan, if you come up onto the stage, we are waiting for you.
Oh, you
Thank you. And one gift is for the brother. And please, wait for that. I want you to give your last message, since you are the only sheikh right now. And we want you to give your message to the students.
MashaAllah, a sheikh coming after Ali Baba and MashaAllah. So I have to say something just like that. You know, one time after Salat al-Asr, you know, in the Masjid of Cairo, how many of you know Cairo? Cairo, MashaAllah. Somebody stood up and said, La'an Allah al-mutazawwijina qabli. Anybody who married before me, astaghfirullah. He said, may Allah curse everybody who married before me. People started looking at him. And then he says, La'an Allah al-mutazawwijina ba'di. May God curse those who will marry after me too. They said, Ittaqillah, you know, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How could you say something like that? Why those people who got married before you, may God curse them? He said, they did not tell me what happens. And why those who come after you and marry? Because they did not learn anything from me. Anyhow, as you know, mashallah, there are different kinds of jokes when it comes to marriage, relationship, but don't forget, this is the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Brother Ali Baba was talking about half of deen, the Prophet ﷺ said, the husband or the wife is your half of the deen. Your deen is not complete without each other. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you with the best of the partner, with the best of the spouse. But one thing, this life is very serious. Do not waste your life in something which is not positive, which will not have the impact in this life or in the life to come. There are so many theoretical issues. Those issues are important for us for our knowledge, but if they are not practical enough to make some difference in this life, do not waste your time. You know the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and also even before that the ayah, wal asr innal insana lafi khusr. That everybody who has come to this existence is a loser. Why? Because every second, you know, we are getting closer to our death, to our qabr. When we came, we were given 60, 70 years of life. Now we are 10 years closer to our death. Every day, every year, mashallah, we are getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالْحَقِّ وَتَوَاصَوْا بِالصَّبْرِ. Except those people who utilize this time in something which is so positive that it will have the impact in this life and the life to come. So I just want to give you this message. I was not going to disagree with Dr. Akhtar or anything when it comes to the issue of Imam Mahdi rahmatullah alayh. But remember, there is no consensus in the Ummah when it comes to those kind of issues. So whether in Constantinople or in Medina or in Damascus, there are a number of ahadiths which are taught, which are basically quoted when it comes to the issue of Imam Mahdi rahmatullah alayh. But many of the scholars, they say that few of them are authentic and a lot of them are weak ahadiths. But we Muslims, we young people, we have to talk about our salawat. We have to talk about our deen, iman. There are so many people who are attacking our religion. They are attacking the character of Rasulullah sallallahu. They are saying that Quran is the source of violence. Muhammad sallallahu was a terrorist. Or Islam is a religion of astaghfirullah violence. They are challenging our iman. So we have to learn more about Christianity, Judaism, Islam, about Rasulullah sallallahu, about our deen, about our akhirah. So as the result of this, mashallah, very fantastic youth, I would say organized by the youth, this youth camp or youth conference, I would like you to focus upon more upon your deen, about the basics of your aqidah, your akhlaq, and also upon your ibadah. So don't waste your time in these kind of theoretical issues. Learn them, study them, but focus more upon ibadah and upon the basics of your life. Jazakumullah khair.
Thank you very much. We are not finished yet. Please be seated. We have a number of things which are left. We would also like to thank our brothers from Turkey, Altugeti and Dr. Boona Mohammad. Unfortunately, your gifts have been taken away by our brother Akhlaq, and he will deliver it to you. And I would also like to thank our dear friends from Denmark, Sweden, who have come with their fossils and their literature. Thank you for you guys. In the last, our ICC youth lead coordinator, Brother Hamza, would you please come onto the stage and give your message?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا خاتم النبيين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. First of all, I want to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for making this conference a success. And I will thank all of you brothers and sisters who have contributed to this conference by buying the ticket or buying the food that we have provided. All the money goes to the masjid, inshallah, for the Qarzi Hasna. Second of all, I will thank our guest, mashallah, for a very beautiful speech, very motivational speech by both Baba Ali, Boona Mohammad, and Al-Tuqati, Ukhtar Babuna, Dr. Zulfikar al-Isha, and the brother from Sweden who has brought fossils. And I will thank especially those who have actually helped us with this conference. All of the brothers and sisters from the ICC Youth Wing and all of other brothers and sisters who have helped us. May Allah reward you for this, inshallah ta'ala. And second thing, I want to thank this masjid for actually giving us youth the opportunity to help the masjid to repay the Qarzi Hasna and work for Deen Islam, inshallah. Jazakallah khair for coming. And we will pray Salatul Isha, inshallah, in this floor. For the cities, it will be third floor. And if you have any comments on this program, good and bad comments, we will gladly to have those for improvement, inshallah. And we will end it with dua from Dr. Zulfikar al-Isha.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. والعاقبة للمتقين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم سيد الأنبياء وسائر الأنبياء والمرسلين اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام تبارك ربنا وتعالى يا ذا الجلال والإكرام ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم اللهم افتح لنا وأنت خير الفاتحين اللهم اغفر لنا وأنت خير الغافرين اللهم ارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين اللهم ارزقنا وأنت خير الرازقين اللهم احفظنا وأنت خير الحافظين اللهم اهدنا ونجنا من القوم الظالمين اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا طيبا وواسعا وقلبا شاكرا وخاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا ودعاء مستجابا وبدنا على البلاء صابرا وزوجة صالحة تعيننا على طاعتك ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأهل بيته وأزواجه وذريته أجمعين برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين يا رب العالمين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون